So, I was gonna post a video, this is why this might be a drawing skip, but they actually have found the Titan's debris. So, it was confirmed that the debris found was from the Titan and there's no survivors. 5 people have perished, sadly. That includes the 19-year-old that I mentioned later in the video. My deepest regards to the family, and sorry about anyone who's affected by this. The CEO was also on board, and he is also one of the 5 lives that were lost. So apparently, what happened is they lost the pressure chamber, which I'm not exactly sure what that means. I think that might mean the vessel couldn't handle the pressure because the windows weren't supported, and maybe the vessel itself. I'm honestly surprised at how this hasn't happened earlier, honestly, given what I've heard about the safety of this vehicle. This was kind of bound to happen, and it's really OceanGate's fault. I don't understand how they let this fly. This was never approved by any regulatory business inspector, and I'm honestly really surprised. I think the waiver will probably protect them legally, sadly. I think the families do deserve uh, compensation for this, but I don't know if that's going to happen given the waiver included all of the risks. But this was also just very irresponsible. So I wanted to talk about the submarine situation today. Not submarine, the submersible. The difference is with the submersible, you need a ship or another submarine to support it because it does not have enough power to get to shore by itself. That's usually what that usually means. In a submarine, it can get to shore back by itself. It doesn't need any help or anything. Um, but I wanted to talk about the story behind this, and before I can talk about the people's reaction, because that's what I'm more wanting to talk about, because I think it's kind of gross. So what happened was a submersible went to the bottom of, like near the fucking bottom of the ocean to look at the Titanic debris. Wow, but the problem is this had no regards for safety, like at all. It is actually insane. Um, like the windows weren't even rated for the depths they were going, and this all kind of starts. So essentially, it begins with a submersible that goes to the Titanic, and it goes to the Titanic, and people can go on it, and it's kind of small, it's kind of cramped, and it's a lot of money to pay. It's $250,000 per seat, and it can hold 6 people, I think, including the pilot. So really 5 people, I think. Um, and this ranges from old people to the pilot's pretty old, and then to young people, like the youngest being I think, 19-year-old who just finished his first year of college. And a lot of these clients are rich, like probably literally all of them, because it's $250,000 a seat. And they all went on, and after an hour and 45 minutes of being, of going down there, they lost contact with the submarine, and I think it takes about like 8 hours to actually get to the Titanic. So they actually lost contact quite fast. But after that, they no contact. No contact was had with them. They are also using Elon Musk's internet service, which uses satellites without it doesn't use any copper cables or cables on the bottom of the ocean, yada yada. It and it's known to be extremely spotty. And I'd like to start talking about the safety and the CEO. So to even get on this thing, you have to sign a waiver. But let me pull up the waiver. Okay, well, the waiver essentially said, like most waivers, they all encompass risk and stuff like they're all protecting themselves from risk, and it's not odd to be like death if you die, we are not responsible, yada yada. Um, but this waiver also included that the waiver said, quote unquote, wasn't signed off by any regulatory body, so it did not pass any inspection. Uh, this and the CEO is commonly known as the Daredevil inventor. Um, and he always describes it as obscenely safe. Another thing, the industry is obscenely safe and has way too many regulations that prevent innovation. And the reason there's so many regulations is because there's no innovations. And if you could see the inside, you see that little button right there? That's an elevator button. That is what operates the entire fucking thing. That and a video game controller. A video game controller is not uncommon. So, I want to do a bit of a follow-up. That is a lot of industry standard for a lot of military stuff. But I don't think what's industry standard is a $20 Logitech controller. But I don't know. That part isn't really what worries me. It's probably more of this part. But many people don't really care because there's billionaires on this, and 250,000, and it's $250,000 per ticket. Many people have been making memes of this. If I go onto Twitter right now, there's people gambling on it. Uh, if I just scroll down here, Polymarket, the one of I think the actual like ones doing the gambling is literally retweeting this text by Dextro. He's been doing a lot of updates on this, quote unquote. There are there are currently gambling odds on whether the Titanic submersible will be found. And in Polymarket here it's saying, who wants a free bet? Will the missing submersible be found by June 23rd? That is disgusting. What I wanted to add is that some of the safety problems was essentially it's bolted from the outside. So if they resurfaced, they cannot actually um, get out by themselves because it's bolted from the outside. There is no escape hatch. Most likely that they are not currently alive, sadly. Um, as their oxygen by now has run out, and um, also they found a debris field of the not of. They're not sure if it's from the submersible because there's tons of debris near the Titanic, but they're examining it currently, and we'll see what happens. We'll probably know soon, honestly, because the search is very intense.